I bet some people are still wondering why Trump was very upset with Zelensky, the Ukraine president.
President Zelensky showed up to the White House wearing an outfit from Temu, and I found that very disrespectful, I have to be honest. I'm going to start calling him Temu Zelensky from now on. Someone get this guy a suit, for Christ's sake.
That was a joke taken a bit too far. Let's get serious. You need to watch this video to the end and help me share it. You're welcome back again on this platform where we tell you undiluted truth. Since after the altercation between Donald Trump, the US president, and Zelensky, the Ukraine president, when he visited the White House, that altercation has raised a lot of dust. And some people are calling out Trump as a bully because he is becoming so unpolitical.
President Zelensky showed up to the White House wearing an outfit from Temu, and I found that very disrespectful, I have to be honest. I'm going to start calling him Temu Zelensky from now on. Someone get this guy a suit, for Christ's sake. Sleepy Joe gave this guy $500 billion, and he can't even afford a $1,000 suit. What a cheap guy. He spent all that money from U.S. taxpayers gave him and spent it on the Temu app. He should at least use Amazon so our taxpayer money doesn't go to China. Temu has awful quality. I think we can all agree on that. But either way, you can't show up to the White House like that. I've seen homeless people dress better than this guy, and he's supposed to be a president. Even Elon's little son X wore a better outfit than this clown. No wonder President Putin doesn't take this guy serious. He has to take himself serious first.
Now, some people may consider that that's a joke taken too far, but let us dig in to the real issue why the Ukraine war with Russia. To start with, listen to this.
What was Putin's intention in the war? Not the propaganda that's written about this. Oh, that they failed and he was going to take over Ukraine. The idea was to keep NATO, and what is NATO? It's the United States, off of Russia's border. No more, no less. When the Soviet Union ended in 1991, and an agreement was made that NATO will not move 1 inch eastward. Now, what happened after 1991, the United States decided there would be no end to eastward enlargement of NATO. And the decision was taken formally in 1994. When President Clinton signed off on NATO enlargement to the east, all the way to Ukraine and into Georgia. So the NATO enlargement, as you know, started in 1999 with Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic. And Russia was extremely unhappy about it, but these were countries still far from the border. So the next round of NATO enlargement came in 2004. With the 3 Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, and Slovakia. At this point, Russia was pretty damn upset. So as everybody recalls, in 2007, President Putin said, stop, enough. And of course, what that meant was in 2008, the United States jammed down Europe's throat enlargement of NATO to Ukraine and to Georgia. This is right up against Russia. And Russia protested, because if Russia decided to have a military base on the Rio Grande or the Canadian border, not only would the United States freak out, we'd have war within about 10 minutes. And a month later, a war broke out. That gets Georgia destroyed. And starting in 2010, the U.S. put in Aegis missile systems in Poland and then in Romania. And Russia doesn't like that. In 2010, Viktor Yanukovych was elected on the platform of neutrality. Russia had no territorial interests or designs in Ukraine at all. What Russia was negotiating was a 25-year lease for Sevastopol naval base. That's it. Not for Crimea, not for the Donbass, nothing. In 2014, the U.S. worked actively to overthrow Yanukovych. Everybody knows the phone call by my Columbia University colleague, Victoria Nuland, and the U.S. Ambassador Peter Piot. Listen to it. It's fascinating.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience, and, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make.
You don't get better evidence. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. And one of the issues on the table in December 2021, January 2022, was, does the United States claim the right to put missile systems in Ukraine? And Blinken told Lavrov in January 2022, the United States reserves the right to put missile systems wherever it wants. So the war started. What was Putin's intention in the war? It was to force Zelensky to negotiate neutrality. And that happened within 7 days of the start of the invasion. Ukraine walked away unilaterally from a near agreement. Why? Because the United States told them to. The idea was that there would be Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Georgia that would deprive Russia of any international status by blocking the Black Sea. And the American senators, who are as nasty and cynical and corrupt as imaginable, say this is wonderful expenditure of our money because no Americans are dying. It's the pure proxy war. And since the U.S. talked the negotiators away from the table, about 1 million Ukrainians have died or been severely.
Good. That is the simple explanation. And I bet US will do exactly the same thing if they were in the shoes of Russia. Tell me, how would US feel if the Russian people are building up their military base right at their border? They will go to war in 10 minutes. And that is the truth. Now, for those of you in America, I know some of my people who doesn't like Trump may not like to watch this video to this point. But in case you are in support of Ukraine in this altercation and the war, I bet you get to listen to this young man from America.
Dear Americans, if you're waving a Ukrainian flag or putting a Ukrainian flag in your bio, I want to ask you, what exactly are you supporting? Are you supporting a war that the US and Europe sparked by constantly expanding NATO closer to Russian borders since 1994? Are you supporting a war that was sparked by the US helping to overthrow a democratically elected Ukrainian president in 2014 because he was pro-Russian? Are you supporting a war that was instigated by Biden supporting Ukraine joining NATO in 2021, which would be like Mexico entering a military alliance with Russia? Are you supporting funding war or forging peace? Now, to be clear, Putin started this war. Putin broke international law. Putin has blood on his hands. But our government has been giving other governments excuses to fight wars. Weapons companies who own our politicians profit from war and find new reasons to start war, give them excuses. U.S. aid, which has been undermining foreign governments under the guise of humanitarian aid, gives them excuses. Cowardly Republican and Democrat career politicians who go along with all of that give them excuses. If we want to stop wars, then we need to stop giving other countries reasons to start them. Now, we can all have empathy for Zelensky. He's had to endure 3 years of watching his people suffer at the hands of Putin. But legacy media painted him as a victim in that press conference. They ignored how Zelensky behaved for the first 39 minutes of a 50-minute press conference. They ignored that Zelensky kept calling Putin a killer and a terrorist while our president was trying to make peace. They ignored that Zelensky said Russia should pay for everything while our president was trying to make a deal. They ignored that Zelensky threatened Americans that Putin will attack America while we're trying to stop the attacks on Ukraine. They ignored that Zelensky is fighting a war with money that isn't his, while our president is fighting for peace. Stop buying this. Stop buying the story that we need to fight Putin forever. Stop buying the story that we need to use American money for Ukrainians and Russians to die. Stop buying the story that Trump talking to Putin to create peace is somehow wrong. Stop and ask yourself, what exactly are you supporting? Are you supporting peace for the Ukrainian people, or are you supporting governments who get in the way of peace?
Good. I bet that settles it all. And that brings to mind the position of Trump and why someone like me is unrepentant supporter of Donald Trump in his policies. Because you know why? The guy is not being politically correct. What he says, he does.
Everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
if you
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks. Of course he has.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
If you happen to be an Igbo man, I will give him a Kweme, one of Igbo land. Or if I have to give him a title, that is what I'm going to give to him. A Kweme, one of the entire world. What he says is exactly what he does. And come to think of it, the Democrats, they have profited a lot in global war and crisis. That is how they make billions. And that is what Donald Trump is coming to put to a stop. So why wouldn't you support him? Tell me what wrong he had done to put his foot on the ground to say enough is enough. And he's angry with the Ukraine president for making himself a tool in the hands of NATO forces, especially the American government, before Donald Trump came in this war with Russia. Na abu buga ebon eloko. Now the person we no person we pass am. Now they enter this kind of crazy war that Ukraine had joined with Russia. And people are dying while some few people are cashing out. That is what Trump wants to put to a stop. Wouldn't you call him a man of peace, just like he did in his first term? Now, let me have your opinion. If you support Donald Trump on this, or you are still among those who say, bring Trump down. Put a stop to Trump madness, as they call it. I want to have your opinion on this on the comment section. Don't say, I should focus what's happening in Nigeria and leave America to you. We are all global citizens. And what happens everywhere affects everyone everywhere. So, let me have your opinion on this on the comment section. I'm still Asuchelo Peters, the advocate for good governance. Bye-bye for now. GGN, uniting the people for good governance.